Yes, it happened. No, we don't need to freak out about it. Hey guys, Nightfall here, and as you can see from the intro, at about 6-ish, 6:14-ish to be exact, on Tuesday, September 23rd, Frag Punk hit an all-time low of 0 players. It was for a split like 5 minutes. It wasn't because nobody was actually playing the game. It's not because the game died. Well, I mean, the servers kind of died for a minute, but that's really about it. As you can see from this graph, it immediately spiked back up and it was back to its normal but still low player count. So let's not make this more than it needs to be. Now, I could have made a whole drama-filled video about this entire thing, but instead, I'm going to give you a bunch of updates, new content coming on September 25th, meaning tomorrow if you're watching this today when it comes out. So FragPunk dropped some new patch notes, and I fully expected it to be just, hey, here's the new event coming, just like most of their patch notes. But no, this one actually has some balancing in it, and it was a lot more than I was bargaining for. So let's go ahead and scroll through here and see what's coming tomorrow. So for starters, we're going to have a brand new game mode called Deck Gear Up, which is basically what it sounds like. It's Gear Up, but with cards or decks. Now, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would highly recommend you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications on. I'll have a video up tomorrow going over more in depth of what this Deck Gear Up mode is and what cards there will be. But you can see that it's basically, like I said, it's just gear up and then they're going to throw cards into the mix, which is what I wanted. And all Lancers are going to start with 125 health, and you have to buy your weapons, shields, skills, and shard cards with gear points. Now, from the little graphic at the top, you can see there's over 60 shard cards available with 5 different builds. Again, that'll make more sense tomorrow when I put that video out going over what exactly the builds are and what you could do with these cards. There's also going to be a new gameplay mechanic for the Outbreak mode called Mortal Bastions, meaning it's not a huge update to Outbreak. It's not the one that we're anticipating that should come next month, but this is just an added feature where if the number of survivors drops below a certain ratio, surviving players can spend shard points to become what they call Mortal Bastions, which just enhances their abilities and skills to fight against the parasites. Then we get a little further down to the event Invite Your Friends Grand Tournament, and this is going to give you a chance to earn up to 7,500 time-limited FragPunk coins. Again, I'll have a separate video about that later. There's also going to be more rewards that you can claim by playing all these new modes and events. Like Deck Gear Up, for example, you can get an exclusive Superb skin for Jaguar, which looks like this, and an Ultra Can and in-game titles, just like you could with the regular Gear Up mode that we already had. And then there's also going to be a 30% Battle Pass XP bonus. Not that we really need it, but Season 3 drops in about 2 weeks, give or take. So if you hop on now and just grind out weekly challenges that you haven't done yet, I can guarantee that you could probably finish the Battle Pass from level 1 to level 60 in just a few hours. In fact, I might do a video doing just that, starting a whole new account just to see how long it would take me to finish a battle pass start to finish. If you want to see that video, let me know down in the comments. But moving on, we already talked about the Mortal Bastion's arrival. There's a bunch of new shard cards, which again, I'll go over that in a totally separate video. And then we have some weapon updates and Lancer updates. So not a whole lot of weapon updates. The first one we have is the Boom Broom, and the movement speed is minus 12% when holding the gun. They adjusted the distance at which damage attenuation occurs from 10 meters to 8 meters, and the damage dealt to the torso by each pellet has been reduced to 16 from 0 to 8 meters, to 13 from 8 to 16 meters, and down to 10 from 16 to 60 meters. Admittedly, the Boom Broom was kind of broken, so this is a much needed nerf, but the thing that's still missing is the Resolver nerf. We're all still waiting for it. They have some general updates here that fall under weapons. The first one is when hitting an enemy who is out of sight and not exposed, hit feedback and damage numbers will no longer be displayed except for damage dealt by melee weapons and projectiles from blaster. And then also, we can now sprint backwards. I don't know who the fuck asked for this, but sure, okay. Let's go ahead and get into some Lancer balance changes and just immediately rip the band-aid off. Zephyr is not mentioned here at all. Like, it goes through half of the Lancers and there's no Zephyr. So Hopefully she has a major update or rework or something come in with season 3 because he really needs it. But the first one on here is Nitro, and in fact, I'm just gonna basically read this one line and tell you what all it applies to. So display hitback, feedback, and damage numbers only when the enemy is exposed or within your line of sight. That is just copy and paste. That affects Nitro's turrets, Jaguar's live wires, Chum's chompers, explosive baits for Chum, pathogens, poison, Axon's electric guitar, all the same thing. Then some changes to Aura, her soul beacon. They reduced the healing speed of Aura from 15 HP per second to 5, and her, again, display hit feedback and damage numbers only when the enemy is exposed or within your line of sight. And then they have Soul Guardian. When possessing using this skill, will not increase Aura's maximum health. Moving right along here, Corona gets a nerf as his Ashes to Ashes, basically his fireball. If you throw it at the ground and stand in it, if you didn't know, now you know, you get damage reduction. And that has been reduced from 25% to 15%. Probably a much needed change. It felt kind of OP going up against the Corona standing in his own fire. Then we get to Hurricane's branching lightning, and there are 2 different throwing methods. You could do a collision split in which the plasma ball explodes and splits upon contact with any object, and a delayed split in which the plasma ball explodes and splits after a designated amount of time, which is how it was before. And they also remove the skill cooldown, so now if you missed blinding the enemy the first time, you could blind them again. Getting down to Broker, his rocket launcher, they reduced the time to switch to the rocket launcher from 0.5 to 0.35 seconds, so that got a little bit of a buff. He can switch to it faster now. They gave him 1 more smoke bomb and also another cherry bomb. So I think this kind of balances Broker out a little bit. I don't know that he needed the buff on switching to his rocket launcher. The other 2, fine, but the rocket launcher might be a little bit overkill. Now, last but not least, we get to Dex, and again, that same copy and paste line for his Mimic Trap applies there, and then his shield scales reduced damage that the shield can block has been reduced from 30 to 20 points. Then we get some Shard Clash shard card changes. For Scoot and Shoot, they increased the required shard points for this card from 2 to 3, and they reduced the maximum movement speed but increased the acceleration. For Fortification Builder, that card now costs 6 shard points. Gadget Breaker increased the radius from 4 to 5 meters, and then Fate's Coin increased the number of uses from 2 up to 4. Then we have some Outbreak changes that I'm not going to get too much into, and you could pause the video here if you want to read this, or just go check out the patch notes on Steam or on their Twitter. And then the final update here is for non-match. It says stickers, and they updated the basic sticker pack content by adding more new stickers. So if you thought you finally completed the basic sticker pack collection, think again. Overall, I think this is a pretty good update. I'm okay with a lot of these changes. There are 2 comments already on Steam, and I'm just curious to see what they are. So here's the 2 comments. Again, I'm not even going to read that first one. It's literally the same thing on every update for this game. Somebody's asking for this. Just stop. Just stop. And then a very long, drawn out comment here where they said, I like how you guys change everything, every patch, except the stuff that people are actually complaining about or want changed. Not entirely true, but I get the frustration with where they're coming from. Zephyr, Resolver, stuff like that. But this next line to say that over 6 months have passed and they haven't made any significant changes to the game, I don't agree with. And then he goes on to list like a bunch of stuff here that I'm just going to highlight a few things because this is a lot. I mean, kudos to him for giving well thought out feedback, I guess, but let's go through this. TTK is random. Health and damage is random. What the fuck are you talking about, kid? Snipers are OP after 6+ months. Agreed. I'll give you that one. None of the characters are interesting or take any skill to play. Highly disagree. Also, a character shouldn't take a fucking grandmaster at chess to be able to figure him out. It's supposed to be new player friendly. And then I think probably my favorite one here, Zephyr still makes a lot of people just rage quit and leave. I'm just gonna stop reading the rest of this stuff now because what I thought was some well thought out feedback is just feedback from a casual peak gold player. If people really still think that Zephyr is making people rage quit and leave games, you are just bad at the game. And I'm not sorry that I'm saying that. You need to hear it. Zephyr is the worst Lancer in the game, period. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. on all of these new patches. What do you think the state of the game is? Do you think the game has made significant changes between now and 6 months ago? Also, let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to in the Halloween event that's going to be coming soon, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.